Well, good evening. Hasn't been a while since I did a video, but I've kind of thought of a theme, so we're going to do a little one of some trains that I haven't seen before, and some you have. The theme for this particular video is going to be oddities and favourites. So some of my favourites and some of the, I suppose not odd, but certainly a little bit different locomotives we've got in the collection. So we're starting with this particular unit, which is a Oxford Rail N7. Oxford Rail being the manufacturer, N7. It's a LNER N7 tank engine. Used to ply its trade out of the London North Eastern Rail, King's Cross and other stations around the East Anglia network, I do believe. So mixed traffic, sometimes goods vehicles, sometimes passenger. So today we've got it on a goods train. The next train we're going to pull out is this particular one. I'm going to reverse it into shot. And this is, whoops, too far. This is the J27 from the LNER. Lovely engine. Very, very nice. Again, mixed traffic, this one. An 060 tender engine, mainly found in the northeast actually. It was I think originally built for the North Eastern Railway, and then obviously went into the LNER as well. J27 again by Oxford Rail, not a Hornby loco, but an Oxford Rail one. I thought the front wheels were off there, but they were fine. Mixed traffic. It's a lovely loco. It was did a lot of goods work, coal trains in the northeast, but very occasionally used for passenger work as well. So today it's going to be pulling some little passenger carriages rather. Sorry. So lovely detail, that one. I'll take a picture of its interior and I'll put that in the video so you'll be able to see what the interior looks like, the cabin. It's absolutely fantastic. And then, last but not least, out of this trio, if I pull it into shot, we've got this particular unit, which is a Southern Rail engine. And this one, I'll just get that into focus a bit better. There we go. Southern Rail Class N15 460 passenger express locomotive. I believe this dates from around the First World War through to the Second World War. Obviously Southern Rail green. Again, a fabulous model from Hornby. Absolutely lovely. And it's pulling some coaches. So this Southern Rail loco is called Excalibur. This particular class is also known as the King Arthur class, because most of them were named after elements of the Knights of the Round Table and King Arthur. So this one's Excalibur. It was built in 1918 and it lasted until 1956 before it was scrapped. Great little engine. Let's get them running. Wrong way. Okay, next batch of locomotives. This is what's known as an LNER D11. It was originally built for the Great Central Railway, which became part of the LNER. This one's called James Fitzjames. It's a 440 express passenger locomotive, and this one and the next two that you're going to see are what I would class as my oddities. Oddities, slightly different. So it's a 440, but it's an express passenger one, which is unusual. And for a 440, it's one of the biggest 440s that was built for the British rail network, but was very successful, and did a sterling job as an express passenger locomotive. Normally for this stage of the game, which we're looking at the around about World War I, 1917, 1918, express passenger engines were quite a bit bigger than this in terms of its wheel set. You're probably talking Atlantics, like 442 or something like that. The Pacifics were still another sort of 10 years away. If you think about the Flying Scotsman being one of the first Pacifics as a 462, so this was possibly one of the last and the largest 440s built as an express passenger locomotive. So a slightly oddball thing, but very nice it is too. And then next we have what's the number? Coming in from the left of screen. Here it comes. We've seen this one before. It is the Evening Star. Very unusual but powerful steam locomotive. The Evening Star was the very last steam locomotive that British Rail built. The class is called a 9F, and it was built and designed by British Rail after World War II, so late 40s, early 50s. The Evening Star that you see in front of you was the only one of the class that was painted green. All the rest were black. But it's a 210O, so it's got 10 driving wheels. It makes it very powerful, and it was generally used for pulling very large goods trains. But occasionally, especially the Evening Star painted green, did do passenger work, but not very often. And then last of this set of three oddities, coming in from the right, giving it a bit of time, come on, we've got this beauty, Gresley's P2, the 282. Gresley designed LNER P2, Cock of the North. Sometime around about the late 30s, I think this was designed and built for pulling passenger trains between Edinburgh and Aberdeen, which is a particular tortuous route. So they designed this thing to do the job. And in actual fact, there's a new one of these being built as we speak. From the same people who did Tornado, they're now building a new one of these, I think, which is going to look pretty much like that particular model. So that's quite exciting. Right, let's get these going. Oh, by the way, this one's got sound. Okay, next on the list, another set of 3 favourites. What you're looking at there is a Hornby Peckett. The Pecketts were industrial locos, and as you can see for this one, it was built for the NCB, National Coal Board. Well, I tell a lie, it wasn't built for the NCB, it was built for Ryop Colliery in 1918. But obviously, when the coal mines were nationalised, the National Coal Board was formed and took over the running of all the mines and all the engines and everything else, so it was obviously repainted in the NCB colours at that point. It stayed with Ryop Colliery and worked its entire life there until 1966. So from 1918 to 1966, that's where it was, shunting coal trucks around. But a cracking little model, so I'm very pleased to have that in my collection. One of my favourites for sure. Okay, and then next on the list, coming in from the left, we have this thing. Ooh. I'll just have to zoom back out a bit, I think. Bear with me. Let's get that in. A bit better focus. There we go. This is an LNER Q6, which is again another northern engine built for freight duties. Originally built for the North Eastern Railway between 1913 and 1921, so just during and after First World War. This one was actually built in 1920, and it ended up being scrapped in 1963, so 43 years of service, all in and around the northeast. A lot of them were used to haul coal trains and iron ore trains up to Consett. Didn't really get further south than York, but it was purely for freight really. It's a bit of an unusual one in that it's an 080. It has no leading pony or trailing trucks, it's just 8 main drive wheels. Made it very powerful for hauling freight. So, nice engine. Definitely in my favourites list, that's for sure. And then the last one of these 3 will be this one, coming in from the left. Which is again an absolutely stunning engine. We've seen this one before, but as part of this particular video, still worth having because one of my favourite engines. It's a D163 440, built for the Great Eastern Railway, basically East Anglia, hauling trains out of London and into the wilds of East Anglia at various places. It was built as an express passenger locomotive, so we've got it hauling coaches, and this particular example, it was actually rebuilt by Nigel Gresley in 1933 when it's part of the LNER, and it spent most of its life in East Anglia, Cambridge, Norwich. When was it scrapped? Doesn't say, don't know. But most of these were lasted until the 1950s. They made it through. They made it through the World War. Continued operating through the 50s. This one, oh there we go, made it to 1960. So yes, it's called a D16-3. D16/3. Marvellous engine. Right. Oh, by the way, this one has sound too. Q6 somewhere. Last but not least, the packet. Off she goes. Okay, next on the list, 3 more favourites. First up, we have the J72 tank engine from the North Eastern Railway. Basically a shunting engine, first produced in 1898 for the North Eastern Railway, which is the colour scheme it's wearing, green with NER on the side. It's a fairly unique engine in this because it was built by 3 different companies, one after the other. Originally the first batch by the NER, as you see it. Then when the NER merged to form the LNER, the LNER built another batch of them. And believe it or not, after World War II, British Railways, they built a further batch of them, which makes them a fairly unique shunting engine. A fairly unique steam engine, full stop, to have 3 different firms make them. And it's quite surprising that an engine designed and first built in 1898 was still being built brand new in when was the last batch? 4951 by BR. But there we go, a very successful little shunting engine. Good runner from Bachmann, and it's just a tremendous colour scheme and everything else. So really like that one. The next engine we're going to see, oops, if I can make it come to shot, is this one, which is Southern Rail. Let's get in focus a bit, that's better. Adams radial tank from the Southern Railway. Again, a bit of an unusual one. Used for light passenger duties. Very old design. First designed in 1882. But did sterling work. You can probably tell by the look of it. It's an old design. But sterling work all the way up through the wars. Interestingly enough, with this one, they were due to be retired, but the First World War meant there was a need on, so a lot of them survived the First World War. And then pretty much they started to get retired from service after the First World War. By the time the Southern Rail was created in 1923, and that's the particular colour scheme you see in front of you, there was a lot of them had already gone. But 3 remained in the southern area on the Lyme Regis branch, because they're the only engines that could navigate the tight curves of that particular branch line. So in effect, there was 3 of these things carried on and carried on and carried on all the way up to British Railways. And it wasn't until the 1960s that they were retired, which is quite incredible, considering they're from 1885. Anyway, that's the Adams radial tank. And then the third one, I'll just put the camera back a bit, that we have going for us on this particular set of favourites is this one. Probably going to be too big for the shot. Oh, maybe not. Oh, just. Great Western Railway Castle class. Llantilio Castle, this particular one. I picked this up with a little train fare for £35. Absolute bargain. I can't tell you much about it, to be honest, because I don't know much about it. Apart from the Great Western. It's a 460. The Great Western passenger express locomotives were generally 460s of different sorts. This was, I believe, a development of what they call the Star class. Which made it bigger boiler, bigger firebox, bigger wheels, more powerful cylinders, etc., etc. And it was very successful. And this one led to something called the King class, which was basically this castle class, but built bigger again a 460. And the King class was the Great Western Railway's equivalent of Gresley's A4s or Staniyer's Princess Coronation class from the LMS and the LNER. So this was the one of the original ones of that. Very comparable to the Flying Scotsman in terms of power and whatever else on its day. It was built from about similar age, so the 1920s, the very early 1920s. But anyway, let's get these things going. Get them out of the way. Oh, by the way, this one's pulling some Pullman coaches. Again, I picked them up second hand. They have table lights that light up. How cool is that? And those coaches are lit as well. It is night time. I'm probably whispering a bit because the kids are going to be in bed. And then let's get the... Oops, wrong way. Go forwards. Okay, next one in the sequence is going to be another one of the quirky or oddball ones. So these three are slightly unusual. And we'll start with this one, the Lancashire and Yorkshire tank engine. From the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway, which was amalgamated with the LMS. So this is now in LMS colours, but it's a steam engine that was built for passenger services between Lancashire and Yorkshire, all the way through those conurbations of the mill towns of Manchester, Halifax, Huddersfield, Barnsley, Leeds, all the way through to Hull, and all the way across from Liverpool, really. So there was quite a lot of these made between 1889 and 1911. Apparently about 300 of the things. So they were quite numerous, and they were used for suburban passenger services, commuter services, small trains, small passenger trains, all the way through the Pennines between Lancashire and Yorkshire. It's a 242 design, very unusual. I suppose more common in the Victorian era, but generally speaking, very unusual. One of these machines has been preserved, and it's the only 242 preserved loco that we have. So there we go, Lancashire and Yorkshire tank. Okay, next one, I'll bring it into shot, is this. Ooh, tender engine. Another LMS engine. This is the Hughes Crab, I think they call it. Don't know much about this one. It's a 260 engine. 2 little front wheels, 6 driving wheels. Its nickname was the Crab. Mixed traffic engine, sometimes passenger, sometimes goods. But apparently it was nicknamed the Crab because of its it's got very large cylinders for its size, and it had kind of somewhat of a scuttle on it when it used to run. It's a lovely engine. It's a Bachmann number. Got it second hand, a bit old and knackered, but it's tied up okay. Seems to run okay as well. So the Crab. And then the third one of this unusual bunch, if I just pull the camera back a bit, bring it into the shot, I'll bring it in, is this lovely thing. This is, if I just zoom back out a bit in the focus, this is Southern Engine. It's the H2 Atlantic, and this is I suppose quite an unusual thing in model form. So basically it was designed in the early 1900s, 1910, for the LBSCR, London, Brighton and South Coast Railway. It's obviously shown in southern green. So with the grouping, the LBSCR became part of Southern, and it's an Atlantic express passenger train. A 442. So the designation is it's an Atlantic, and it was the main express passenger locomotive before the Pacifics came in the 1920s. So the likes of your Flying Scotsman A3, the Mallards A4, the Princess Coronation of the LMS, they're all Pacifics 462s. This one's a 442. So it's only got the 2 main driving axles, 4 main driving wheels. But a lovely loco, nonetheless. I think most of these did survive till World War II. So they ploughed their trade all the way through the 1930s, but were fairly quickly withdrawn once they hit the 1950s. fairly obviously they were reduced to secondary passenger services from the late 1930s onwards, probably, when Pacific engines became more commonplace. Okay, I'll have a quick run around with this little lot.